Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Treats by Linda. Today we are making one of the most popular pastries in Ghana, and that is meat pie. We are baking Ghana meat pie right in the comforts of our kitchen. So watch this video to the end because this one is flaky and is filled with so much deliciousness. Stay tuned. These are the ingredients I'll be using for my meat pie. I have here my onion, 2 cloves of garlic, piece of ginger, 2 medium-sized carrots, 2 Irish potatoes. I also have my ground beef or minced meat, and I'll be using 4 sticks of unsalted butter or 1 cup of margarine. I have 1 large egg, salt, baking powder, nutmeg powder or freshly grated nutmeg. I have here some cold milk, whole milk. I have my 4 cups of flour already sifted. I'll also be using some spices, white pepper, black pepper, thyme, and all-purpose seasoning. So yes, if you're ready, let's start. So in a large bowl, I have my 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I add 1 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of baking powder, and I mix everything together until it's well incorporated. I then add in my cold butter. If you're using margarine, make sure you keep it refrigerated and add it when it's cold. I use my pastry blender to cut it into pieces, after which I go in with my hands and ensure that I still have bits and pieces of the cold butter in the flour, because that is what will give the meat pie the flaky feel. So this is perfect. I have here some cold whole milk, and I crack in 1 large egg and just mix everything till it's well combined. You can use evaporated milk or simply use cold water, but just make sure that it's cold. So I add it to my flour mixture, but I add it bit by bit because I don't want my dough to be too soft or mushy. So add it bit by bit, and just use my fingers or my hands to let everything come together nicely. I'll list all the ingredients and the measurements in the description so you can look out for that. It's important not to overmix the dough, and once I'm done, I cover it with cling film and put it in the refrigerator whilst I prep my other ingredients. I'm using white onion because it doesn't have a pungent smell and the taste is also mild, so it works perfectly for this particular recipe. And for the potatoes, I'm using the Yukon Gold potatoes because they're yellow and bright, and when you use it in the filling, it comes out really colorful and I love it. But if you prefer the white potatoes, that also works, so you can use that as well. After peeling my potatoes, I slice it into 3 or 4, after which I use my vegetable cutter to dice it up. But you can also use a knife if you prefer to just, nicely dice all the potatoes. And if you love mashed potatoes like myself, this is the best type of potatoes to use because it will give it that beautiful golden color. That's just a little tip for the mashed potato lovers. If you're watching this video and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, Treats by Linda, and look out for more exciting recipes from me. To my returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. And for my carrots, I also use my vegetable cutter to dice it up, and this is how it looks. Perfect. Now let's prepare the filling. In my saucepan, I pour a little vegetable oil, add my diced onions and stir it for about 3 or 4 minutes, after which I add my grated garlic and grated ginger. The combination of onion, garlic and ginger is a match made in heaven if you ask me, because it adds flavor to any dish you're preparing, and the aroma is absolutely amazing. So I stirred it for about 3 minutes and my kitchen was smelling so good. I then add in my minced meat or ground beef, and everything is going into the saucepan because we want our filling to actually fill the inside of the meat pie. So I'm using all the minced meat. I first break it up and mix it together with the other ingredients, cover it and allow it to simmer. You don't need to add any water at this point because you want to extract the juices from the meat. So after allowing it to simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes, you realize that the ground beef has accumulated its own liquid. The juices has been extracted. So at this point, I add in my spices, which is thyme, black pepper, and white pepper, and I also use some all-purpose seasoning, but you can use any spices of your choice. So I mix everything together. Then it's time to add our diced potatoes and diced carrots. I then add in some water, but not too much water, just about enough to allow the meat with the potatoes and carrots to cook and soften. So I mix everything together, then cover it, just let it simmer gently for about 10 minutes or until you realize that the potato and the carrots have softened. Then you know that it's ready. Our filling is coming along quite well, but we need a thickener. So I added 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, mixed it with a little water, and added it to my meat mixture. You can also use all-purpose flour instead of the cornstarch. A tablespoon or 2 would work as thickener as well. So I mixed everything together, and then I added 1 seasoning cube, salt to taste, and I wanted a bit of heat, so I added some cayenne pepper, smoked paprika for that beautiful color. Mixed everything together, and it was so good, and it tasted absolutely delicious. I was really tempted to consume it, but hey, I had to check myself. Look at how beautiful it is, and we are done. Once I'm done with my filling, I take out my dough from the fridge, dust my work area with a bit of flour, and then I cut my dough into 4 and just start to roll it out. Remember to dust the top of the dough with a bit of flour as well to prevent it from sticking to the rolling pin. And to cut it out, I used the lid of my small saucepan to do that, but you can use any round shape. You can use a bowl or a small plate, and depending on the size that you want, just use your knife to just cut it out, and yeah, you're done. If you have a pastry cutter, definitely use it and cut your dough out into any shape that you prefer. Now we are done rolling out our dough. It's time to assemble our meat pie. This filling looks so yummy. We'll be needing 1 egg to seal the edges and also for the egg wash. So I crack up my egg, beat it slightly, and I set it aside. So I'm going to do the round meat pie first. I take out 1 cut out dough and brush the edges with the beaten egg. I then add the filling. I make sure I add enough, and then I spread it out, but not to touch the part that has the eggs. And once that is done, I top it up with another of the cutout dough and just use my finger to just press it down all around. I repeat the process with half of my cutout dough, and I end up with 4 beautiful round shaped ones ready for the oven. I then give it the egg wash. Look at how beautiful it is. So after I give it the egg wash, I use my fork to poke little or tiny holes in it before it goes into the oven. I had preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. It goes into the oven for 40 to 45 minutes. Now for this shape, I put the filling on one side of the cutout dough, and then I brush half of the edge with the beaten eggs and just fold the other half to cover it fully, and then I use my fingers to just poke it and just seal it up, and voila, it's done. It's very, very simple, and you don't need to stress at all. I think this shape is very familiar with a lot of people. Just look at how beautiful it looks. I also give it the egg wash and just poke it with the fork, and it goes into a preheated oven for 40 to 45 minutes. Fresh out of the oven, look at how beautiful and yummy this meat pie looks. The smell was all over the kitchen, and the kids simply couldn't wait to have a bite of it. I literally had to fight with them to allow me finish with this video before they could have it. And it's so simple. You don't need to be an expert or a chef to prepare this homemade meat pie for your family. They are absolutely going to fall in love with it. If you're new here, you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed watching the video and you're going to try this recipe. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support, and I hope you're also going to try to make this at home for your family. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, kindly do so and expect more exciting recipes from Treats by Linda. And by the way, what are you having this delicious meat pie with? Some chilled bottle of Coke, juice, or maybe some hot chocolate? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to give this video a thumbs up.